positive news from Katie Taylor's side of the world. U.S. broadcaster, a.k.a. DAZN, telling Taylor and Eddie Hearn they want her to headline a all-female card in March in the U.S. and for her to fight Amanda Serrano. It's coming by way of 42, the42.com in Ireland, an Irish outlet. And I gotta say, I'm interested in this. I think you either do the Defon Pursoon pay-per-view in the UK or you do a DAZN U.S. card, all-female card, her fight Amanda Serrano as the main event.
Where were they talking about putting it?
I don't know if they have a location yet.
Okay.
To be honest, let me look really fast. But Gary, thoughts? And they're thinking of putting this on International Women's Day, which would be a cool little nod, obviously, for an all-female card. Obviously, I think it's cool.
What would make it even better?
What?
If they put Selena Barrios on the card.
Oh, I would like that. Well, first off, they're gonna have to find all the notable name women's fighters, I think, to put on this card. So, expect Sydney Serrano A to be on this card as well. Maybe Selena Barrios. I would, if the DAZN is smart here, they extend olive branches and they go, "Hey, Michaela Mayer in Top Rank. Let's do something here."
When is International Women's Day? When is that?
It's March 7th.
Oh, it's not for a while.
March 7th. Hey, my birthday. Hey. There we go. That'd be dope. But digressing from that, extend the olive branch to Top Rank and get Michaela Mayer over here, over to DAZN, right? And who else would you get? Maybe not for a fight, but maybe have Chris Shields be around just to help promote at least, But I know she's fought on DAZN cards before, so maybe get Shields, but she would probably be the main event, you would think, right? I would just say get all the women in the community together on this card, either fighting or helping to promote the card, and it will do amazing numbers for DAZN, in my opinion, relative to what they've done in the past.
It'll do good. I just wonder if women's boxing can grow like, say, women's soccer did, if it can find its own niche in the market, right?
I think the best the parallel would be women's MMA, right? And that clearly has found an audience, right? I mean, women's MMA divisions in the UFC are quite successful. I mean, obviously Ronda Rousey was a mega star, but you even have borderline draws and stars like Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Rose Namajunas, Thug Rose, Shevchenko, who else? Amanda Nunes, Chris Cyborg. Holly Holm, for example, I think being a far bigger star in MMA than she ever was in boxing. And then on top of that, we've seen in MMA, we have Invicta FC, which is an all-women's promotion. So it's only women's fights for that promotion. And it's on UFC Fight Pass, and it's run by Shannon Knapp, who is a former women's fighter. And it's just a fantastic organization that has great cards, great events, and on top of it, really builds talent for the UFC's divisions and the top level. So I think there's absolutely a space for women's boxing. It just needs to be invested in and supported by the industry. So often you get guys like Mauricio Sulaiman saying, why do women deserve 3-minute rounds? No, they can just have 2-minute rounds. As long as the people that hold the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, continue to think down on women's boxing, then it's going to be hard for women's boxing to really progress.
You need a superstar in the sport, like a crossover superstar, someone who's a superstar in the ring and then has a Hollywood personality to get it running, right? That's what you're in the UFC. You had what's her name?
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. Yeah. You need someone like that to really put the sport, get it on ESPN, have everyone break it down, have everyone really get people excited.
It started all before Ronda Rousey. I know, maybe I might say some names here that maybe you might know. Back in the day, you had Strikeforce on Showtime, right? That was with Scott Coker, and they were the big competitors in the U.S. market for MMA to the UFC. And they put on Gina Carano versus Chris Cyborg, and that was the first ever women's main event on U.S. TV for MMA. And
the other name sounds familiar. Obviously, I know Chris Cyborg.
Gina Carano is now in Hollywood doing movies.
I know the name, yeah.
She's also going to be in the new Mandalorian TV show on Disney Plus, the Star Wars TV show, which looks amazing. But digressing from that, that card, I forget the exact viewership for that, but I think it did over 300,000 viewers on Showtime, average. And again, this is the first, right? And did that number. And through that time, we had Misha Tate come up. We had Sarah Kaufman. We had, who else was like Marlos Kunin maybe. And they all come up. We're fighting Cyborg, or even the division below. And then Rousey came in. So before Rousey was ever around, there was a foundational level of support for women's MMA that existed years before her. Years. And my point is that for boxing, there's no white knight and like Jesus figure going to come and save women's boxing on a dime. That does not exist. You need to invest in it. You need to support it. You need to platform women's boxing. And after a few years, or maybe even more than just a few years, then the big superstar comes. Because that's how it works.
Yeah, no, it does. Matt's right.
You know, like you have to put in the ground game and groundwork first before you ever get big. This works for any sort of level of fame or celebrity or whatever it is. Or promotion, period. Like whether it's movies, TV shows, fights. You need to have significant ground game and groundwork, whether it be people on the streets, people putting up ads, people handing out flyers, whatever it be. That sort of level of promotion. Same sort of mentality for women's boxing. You need to put it out there to the masses. Otherwise, to hope that there's some figure to come and just make herself aware that, hey, I'm the superstar all of a sudden, and then make the institutions and the entities that control boxing change. No, it has to be the other way around. It has to. Because unless these institutions like the sanctioning bodies and networks really promote and push women's boxing, you will never get a Ronda Rousey figure in boxing. They will never exist because they never have the opportunities to exist. It's the same. It's the same sort of mentality as like representation in movies, right? Like you need to put people in charge that are of a certain demographic because they will then make sure that that demographic is accurately represented. Okay, it's the same sort of mentality. I think more of these executives or these boardrooms at ESPN and DAZN need more women involved. To be honest, for example, Shannon Knapp, who runs Invicta and MMA, she runs it. She is the president. That helps because you have a woman that is thinking from that perspective, pushing for women's boxing, when these older men probably maybe won't because it's not their mentality, it's not their viewpoint, it's not their worldview. Naturally speaking, just as men, it's just how we like naturally work.
If you headlined a card, Amanda Serrano at the small building, at the small theater in the Garden.
Oh, okay.
Do you think you could do that? Like, do you think she could sell 3,000 to 4,000 or whatever that holds?
Yeah, yeah.
I think
just her by herself, like as like the A side against a tune-up, or like what do you mean here?
Well, make her the A side and then like try to fill up the undercard with as many New York and Puerto Rican fighters as you could.
No, it would do well. It would do well.
I think like that. Like we already had a good like her fight with Heather Hardy was good. Amanda Serrano, I think, is the best women's fighter in the world. Right? You had the fight last week on the Canelo undercard, which a lot of people saw, which was a great fight. Right? It used to be like when they were selling Christy Martin would just blow the women out, and it was like, okay, she's good, but the rest of them aren't. Now, like you're getting good fights, like
Estrada Esparza.
Yeah,
go back and watch that.
And then Taylor last fight.
Lenartu.
Like, this is like boxing at its high level. It's not one girl who's good blowing everyone out. Like this is high level boxing, right? And you can start to sell, but it's gonna take years. It's gonna take a commitment to doing it.
Yeah.
I would say try to sell Serrano as a headline on a card. Like put Manny Rodriguez on the undercard, and other New York fighters on the undercard. Fill it up, have her headline, and everyone's gonna be impressed with Amanda. Like she's really good.
I agree. The Heather Hardy fight, sold.
It's a good fight. Yeah,
it sold well in a sense, right? Like they largely were the ticket sellers for that venue. I want to say for that card. I also want to point out that Amanda Serrano has signed a new contract to fight Kay Taylor in the near future. Whatever that means, I don't know because she signed a contract years ago.
At what weight? 130?
I would assume so.
Because Amanda Serrano fights at 20. You said Amanda Serrano, right?
Yeah, Amanda Serrano signed a contract to fight Kay Taylor, yes.
She fights at 26. Yeah. Kay Taylor just fought at 40, so I guess...
It'll be 130.
130?
Chase Athletics saying best woman fighter ever, Serrano. Really? No, I agree with you, Chase. Gary's out of pocket there for saying that. But
did I say she's the best women's fighter? Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You have Clarissa Shields obviously saying they're just shaking her head at you right now. Like, how dare you?
Okay. She's the best women's fighter currently.
Serrano?
I didn't know I said... Yeah.
No, she's not. Clarissa
Okay.
Shields. Okay.
I'm gonna.
Who's the better boxer technically? It's Clarissa Shields. Do you not go back and watch the Hammer fight, please, for the love of God? Go back and watch the Hammer fight.
I want to go do some research. I don't know. I watched Amanda Serrano. I think that's the best. That's the best women's fighter in the world. I mean, okay, sure, you can make a great argument for Clarissa Shields. I'm gonna go back and watch the Hammer fight now, and we'll reconvene on this next time.
Her defense is on a completely different level than all of these women. But anyways, digressing, and plus I think Katie Taylor's above Serrano too. But digressing from that point, guys.
Perun, I always say her name wrong. How do you say
Persoon. There's an S.
Persoon. She disagrees with you. She didn't think Katie Taylor was anything special.
I think Persoon is very special, but that's beside the point. I think Persoon is one of those people, when you look at her resume and you start looking at some of her common opponents with Katie Taylor, she's given a lot of these women some more work that Katie Taylor has done. Persoon's a real deal. She might be a top 10 pound for pound in the world easily. And Brackus as well. I mean, come on, there's some names.
Brackus, yeah, but I mean, you're right. She's got the best. She's the Manny Pacquiao.
No discredit.
Been around forever.
No discredit to Amanda Serrano, but it's like there's an argument. Like there's an easy argument that she's not number one, and then for who's number two, number three, she's in that argument. I'll put it that way. But Shields is clearly number one. Digressing though, let's talk about.